Yo, 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 yo. We are back. Episode 4, right? I believe.
4 or 5.
I think it's 4.
Okay,
I think it's
episode
4.
4.
Yeah, it's week 4 of the college football season, so.
You're right. Hey, we made it a month. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. That is crazy. So let's get right into it. It wasn't the most eventful week 3.
I mean, unless you're in the Big Ten.
That's true. Yeah, if you're Wisconsin, it was everything.
Hashtag yikes.
Which game should we get into first? You want to recap the Florida game really quickly and then move on?
Yeah, sure. Let's just dive in. So, what's your takeaway? Your main takeaway, Greg?
Main takeaway, I think I sent you a snap earlier this week asking to be put out of my misery regarding Felipe Franks. I just can't do it anymore. Like, I'm sorry. That's my main
I don't know.
takeaway.
I think you need to shed your Felipe bias, because in my opinion, he's done nothing but improve.
He
In my
just okay.
So I understand. When the floor is low, any improvement still doesn't put you that high, closer to your ceiling. But like at least it's, you know, trending
It is
upward.
improvement. Yeah, I mean you're right. Like he is improving, but he still isn't good. And he basically is going from being like the biggest liability on the team to like still a liability as ESPN plays music. I actually gotta mute that. He just isn't that good. Like he just, I know, I don't know. I'm gonna reserve judgment until this Saturday.
And that's a good idea, because I know we said Kentucky was the first true test, and like we said that and then we lost.
Yeah, we did.
But like I think that was a real learning experience, and I'm not even just making excuses. Like I think that was a real learning experience for the team in general, because like you heard Tebow say it on SEC Network or whatever. He's like, I mean, Florida, their mentality was we're a great team because we have the talent, but like to be a great team, you have to turn that talent into like a mindset, and you can't just focus you can't just rely solely on like your talent. You have to
Yeah.
you have to become a team and put the hashtag relentless effort in. And I mean, like I think Kentucky was a great example of how we didn't do that, and it was just like, this is Kentucky. And I was in the locker room last year for after the Kentucky win, if you want to call it a win, honestly. And the main thing that McElwain told the team was, at the end of the day, he literally said this: at the end of the day, they're still fucking Kentucky. Like, excuse my language, but that is literally that.
He said that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So that, I mean, as much as that shows how not great of a coach he was, it also points to the sort of mentality that the team's carrying over from the previous regime to this regime. Like their idea being they're just Kentucky, so we should beat them no matter what. And obviously that's not true, because Kentucky had been working really hard to become a better team, and like we just had been regressing for 8 years.
Yeah,
So
just constantly regressing.
yeah, but that was 2 weeks ago, and we won this week. So I mean, well, it didn't look great. I mean,
It wasn't pretty. I mean, I didn't get to watch any of it. I mean, I've since watched the game, but I didn't watch it live. But I heard they were booing Franks early, or the whole team.
There was some unrest
Yes.
in the early bits of the
Yeah.
game, and again, I don't think that's fair, because we all know Felipe wasn't getting good coaching basically for his entire football career up until this point. So
All right, I don't know if you can say that. Like you would know more. You were you were in it. I just don't think it's fair to say. For instance, because I have no life, I rewatched a little bit of the Tennessee game from last year, and first couple drives, like the play calling was spectacular. It really was. We were marching down the field, and this is in Nussmeier's offense, and Franks was comfortable, and he looked like he was okay. And he obviously didn't make some throws because he's Felipe, but I just don't. There's so much put on the coaching staff, and I think there's so much blame tossed on it for like last year's debacle, and for this year's slow start. And I just don't think it's as fair as people think.
I hear you.
I think a lot of it's just a poor execution, honestly, from the
I
quarterback
guess
position.
you're right. I mean, you're definitely right about that. Like
Yeah.
there are players not making plays they should be making, and not completing assignments they should be completing. But I mean, I think that does go back to coaching a little bit, honestly. Like,
Fair
you
enough.
can't-
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably like closer to 50-50 than my attitude on the podcast would reflect, because I'm always going to be in favor of the players. I mean, at the end of the day, we're basically still in college. Like, I'm 22, you're 22. Like, these are our peers, and we're basically the same age, so we understand kind of the trials that they're going through as far as like learning things. And
of course, I don't want it to make it sound like that. I'm putting on the players like Nussmeier. Don't get me wrong. Like 3rd and 14, the guys calling play action fakes and bubble screens. I mean, like, he was horrible. But those couple drives that I watched from last night, at least, like, the play calling was nice. And I know maybe some people said that he would script the play calls for the first couple of drives. I don't know if there's any truth to that, so maybe that's 100%. Why. And maybe he was horrible when he had to improvise.
The first 8 plays of every game was 100% scripted for the last regime.
That would be funny if anyone ever did that on Madden. It would be next level. I'm going to start doing that on Madden. I'm going to go full nuss and script my first 8 plays.
I mean, that was the last thing they practiced before the game every week, and that was the first thing they practiced, every day. So, I think that's why, we came out in some games looking competent last year, but as soon as those first 8 plays are over, or if the opposing team's offense kind of had an idea of what our first 8 plays were going to be, it was GG from the beginning, So
I don't, and that's where you can say it's all the coaching staff.
Yeah, and I don't know what the thought process is as far as play calling is this year, but I would contend that is our biggest problem as of now, and I don't think it's because Mullen's a bad coach or a bad play caller. I don't really know why, to be honest. Like, it's confusing to me. Like, he swears up and down that he didn't watch film from our team last year, and that, he had no preconceptions about players coming in. And I find that so hard to believe. Like, if, you're a coach taking over a team, you want to know what they've done up to that point. And
what their strengths are. Yeah.
And you would think that you would watch film to figure that out. But the way he's called the games and the personnel he's been using tells me that maybe that is true. Maybe he has no preconceived notions, because every Florida fan and their mother knows that Keontae Lewis doesn't have great hands, can't catch very well.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Why is he being split out wide and thrown back shoulder passes? Like, that's so counterintuitive to me. And I mean, I would expect Mullen and the tight ends coach and everyone to know that that's not his strength. So why is he starting? B, why is he running that route? And C, why is that Francis' first read?
Maybe they were trying to fool everybody, but they just fooled themselves at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think I'm just talking about tight end right now. Like, even just in these 3 games, I think Keontae has done enough to show that he shouldn't be the starter. Honestly, and I hate talking about players like that, but it's just the truth. I think our biggest problem right now is just play calling and lack of understanding which personnel should be used when.
I agree. I think my biggest complaint, and I'll say this until it changes, is like, we absolutely have to get the ball to Kadarius Toney. He's the best player on the team on offense. It's not even close to me. Maybe not the best player, but he's just the most electric for sure. Mm-hmm. He can catch the ball. For instance, Jordan Scarlett cannot catch the ball out of the backfield. We've seen that. We saw it in the Kentucky game, and then we unfortunately saw it last week. He's not the most reliable. Kadarius Toney, now that Malik Davis is hurt, I think we need to put Kadarius Toney in that kind of Percy Harvin hybrid role where he just is Mr. Everything. I just don't see why we wouldn't do that. I mean, he's the best. Just get the ball to him. I don't understand. He only cut the ball once last game. He had 2 touches last game.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
It's the same 2 touches every time. He catches the screen out wide.
Yeah.
8 to 12 yards.
And it makes the guy miss,
And then they immediately run to the line and run him in Wildcat, where he just gets stuffed. And then that's it. He comes out for the rest of the game, or he just uses a decoy or whatever.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I guess there has to be a reason. Like, I can't. I guess I could believe that a coaching staff could be that incompetent just because we've seen it for so long, but I don't believe that this coaching staff is that incompetent.
Yeah, I would hope not. I mean, I feel like he's just probably in the doghouse still, but
that's what I'm thinking. Like, either he's having an issue with understanding the playbook, or he's not doing the right thing during the week. But But then you have to ask that same question for, the other players who clearly have shown that they're better than the players who are getting more time. Like, where's Trayvon Grimes? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
he had one touch. It didn't really even play until the second half.
One catch for 17 yards, and I guess that was it. But we only completed 8 passes, so which goes back to why I don't think Franks is the answer. But we'll see. Tennessee's going to be a big test. 100,000 strong in Neyland. They're going to be really loud. So it's not going to be easy, but we'll see.
Give me your prediction.
Prediction. Oof. Well, first of all, I would like to discuss Tennessee's. They have claimed 6 national titles, and they really only have 2. The Associated Press has only recognized 2 of them. One year, 1967, they claimed a title. They finished with 2 losses and lost their bowl game. So how do you? I just don't understand how you lose your last game to finish with 2 losses and you claim you're a national titleist. And the only selector that has recognized them as a national champion for 1967 is some publication called Litkin House. And I swear I think it looks German. Like, I don't even know if they know what's going on, but I just want to say, Tennessee, you only have 2 titles. You don't have 6, so stop.
That's fine. And every super old, historic SEC program has all these like fake national titles that they've claimed. Like Auburn and Alabama all have 12 whatever fake titles. And I think Florida would definitely do that too if we had any argument for that. Like, except we weren't even relevant until like the late '80s. So if we were winning 8 games back in the '60s and '70s, I'm sure we'd be claiming these titles too. But
you're right. I hate Tennessee, so I kind of had to say it. Also, 1984, Florida did finish in the top 5, and we were recognized as national champion by I think 6 publications, but due to violations, we had to give those up. So
yeah, well,
for the
that means the NCAA is just a bunch of loopers. They went back in time and undid all those wins.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so prediction for this week. After I rambled there, I think we win actually, which I didn't think that was going to be the case heading into last week. I was a little impressed, even though the score did not reflect the way the game went. 3 late touchdowns. Shout out to Freddie Swain, by the way. He's actually very good. I think we win the game. I think it's going to be close. I'm going 23-21, McPherson, game winner.
Ooh. Evan. Man, we didn't even really talk about it this week, to be honest. This past week.
No, we didn't.
That's fine, though. I'll hit on some of it.
We can go back in time.
Honestly, dude, I think we lose this game. And I think that's okay. I had way higher expectations coming into this season than, that's every year for me, honestly. Like, I'm an optimist. I'm not going to sit here and choose our team to win 5 games every year. That's just not, football is something that makes me happy in my life. I'm not going to come into it with terrible, terrible expectations. But, I think this is probably closer to a 7-win team than a 9-win team. And I just think and Tennessee, as far as being a Florida Gator, Tennessee is the most hostile environment you can play in. Forget about Doak, forget about all that. Tennessee is it. There's 100,000 people who just very actively hate your guts. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be loud. Our team's young. Not a lot of these guys have played in that environment before. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, especially Felipe, who I think has the tendency to get rattled. So I heard an interesting observation on Twitter where some people theorized that Mullen had been holding a lot back as far as play calling and personnel packages for anticipation of this week. I don't necessarily think that's true, just because we already lost to our SEC opener, so you don't hold something back in a conference game where you're supposed to win.
Yeah, we've been hearing that for years too.
So I'm not necessarily subscribing to that idea, but I think we've got three games under our belts. I think a lot of the players have shown what they are at this point. A lot of players, there's a lot of starting players like Scarlett and Deontay Lewis. and maybe some of the receivers. I think they've shown what they are, what they can be at this point, and I would hope a competent coaching staff would recognize that and make adjustments. I don't want to see Jordan Scarlett start this game. I want to see Perine start, and I want to see Dameon Pierce get those second carries. Like, I think they've both just shown that they're the better options right now. And I mean, at the same for tight ends. Like, I want to see Lucas Krull in there. I want to see Morrill Stevens. Like, I think these guys have just shown that they're more reliable at this point, and I understand Brett Hegge's been hurt, and I understand that, like, he's still transitioning into game shape, but, like, I want to see him take the majority of the snaps this week. Like, he's just very clearly the best interior lineman we have. So I don't think we should be handcuffing ourselves at this point, for which every Florida fan knows, like, what these players are, and we know where they should be playing. So, like, I would hope that the coaching staff would understand that at this point.
Yeah, I think so what's your score prediction, by the way?
I think we lose, man. I think it's close. I think it's like a 24-17 game. Yeah, it's just, we're bad. It's two bad teams.
No doubt. The only reason I think we win, though, is just they've been talking about it on the tailgate this week. I just think that the coaching staff is gonna have we have an edge. And I'm just hoping, like, that's the reason why we can get out of there with the win. Special teams too. We might see some plays made on special teams.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, like, what I'm trying to say is I'm hoping that it's not all going to fall on Frank's shoulders. You know.
Oh, 100%. Because until this point, I don't think we've run more than like 20 run plays. It's been very heavily leaning in favor of the passing game, which is so counterintuitive, especially for the team and this personnel. Like, I understand that, like, the run blocking is suspect. I get it, but there's ways to scheme around that. You know, throw some swing passes, throw some mesh routes. You know, essentially passes that are designed to function like run plays.
Exactly.
Get some guys out in space. Like, we have athletes more than Tennessee. Like, I know that for a fact.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's what's, like, that's why it's tough to pick Tennessee. But I wouldn't be shocked if we lose at all, no doubt. But yeah, just please utilize our playmakers.
Give the team opportunities to win the game, and it's going to go back and forth like that for a while.
Yep.
All right.
Should be interesting. All right, so let's recap some games last week quickly, I guess.
You know what I realized?
Say that again?
You know what I realized?
What's that?
We're really bad at predicting games.
Yeah, we're not. That's not our strength at all.
All right. But anyway, you're right. We should recap some of these.
Yeah. Auburn LSU. What were your thoughts on that? Did you watch?
Yeah, I got the majority of it. I mean, I didn't really learn anything from this game. I thought Auburn would win, but it was kind of like we're talking about for this week for Florida Tennessee. Like, not that there's two bad teams, but each team just gave the other team a lot of opportunities to come back into that game. And I mean, without two pass interference calls or whatever it is on LSU's last drive, like, they don't come down into field goal range with a chance in that game. And I'm sure you can say that for other points for Auburn in that game, but I mean, that's just one of those games that could go either way. Honestly, I don't even remember how I picked it, which is really bad.
Yeah, I don't remember either, honestly.
I think I chose Auburn. I
think we both chose Auburn. It was just funny that was the most classic LSU way to win a game, to move down the field via pass interference calls on the defense and then hit the game-winning field goal to win by 1.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I still don't think LSU's, super great team. I mean...
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow is a rich man's Franks, honestly. Yeah. I don't think he's that great.
I mean, they beat 2 top 10 teams, but, like, is Miami a really top 10 team? And is Auburn even really a top 10
Auburn, team? Yeah. I mean, Auburn, they're okay. I think Auburn's going to lose 3 or 4 games this season. I wouldn't be surprised.
So, I mean, Coach O's already locked himself in for another year. I don't think we can put him on the hot seat anymore. So, unless I think we'll see Coach O next year.
Coach O is like the personification of living paycheck to paycheck in the coaching world, like week to week. He's just 1 week he's on the hot seat, next week he's not, the next week he isn't, then he is again.
Hey, Billy.
Yeah.
All right.
I like to see him do well. But anyways, I mean, were there any other games? I mean, Texas spanked USC. I
Yeah,
didn't see that coming. We didn't even pick that one though.
that was surprising a little bit to me. I mean, what's wrong with USC? That's interesting to me.
Who's their coach? Is it Clay Helton
They
still?
helped still.
I think they're going to be irrelevant as long as he's still there. That's too big of a program to have a coach that nobody knows. But
Hey,
maybe it's just
you watch yourself. That's East Coast bias right there.
That's so true though. We did pick Washington, Utah. I got that one right. You got that one wrong, I guess.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I bought into the Utes a little
You
bit.
did. There was a sequence of events in that game that was just horrible. Like Utah intercepted Washington, was running it back, and their like D lineman who intercepted it like fumbled it out of the fumbled it on the sideline.
Yeah.
And then they attempted a jump pass that was just awful, and then it was 4th and goal into 1, and they ran a play action fake. Quarterback pegged the fullback in the face, incomplete, and that's pretty much how the game ended for him.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to keep it in the Pac-12, the Herm Edwards magic ride is over, unfortunately.
I think you predicted that one correctly, right?
I think I did roll with Arizona State in the end, but I deliberated on it.
That's right. This was the trap game we talked about.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not surprised San Diego State won, and clearly it was a close game. I mean, that's just the Pac-12 for you.
Yeah.
Not even that San Diego State's in the Pac-12, but
It's just the West Coast, I guess.
it's just after dark. They're always due for an upset. Like we talked about the Washington Utah game. That's such a classic Pac-12 game, like 21-7.
Yep.
And it didn't finish until 2 a.m.
Yeah, honestly, could not be any more classic. Notre Dame should have lost. I know we didn't talk about that game, but they didn't. Notre Dame, I don't know what's going on with them. They don't look very good, but
I mean, they're just not.
yeah, exactly.
People are shocked by that. Like, I'm honestly surprised Brian Kelly's still their coach.
Yeah, he had a couple of good years. Like, I think last year was a good year for him, and they're happy with 9 wins a season. You know, they're gonna act like they're not, but they are.
Yeah.
He's the Mark Richt of the Midwest.
I think that's right for them. I mean, like, I think a lot of programs have just shown at this point, like, you can't just live off the magic that you produced back in, like, the 70s and 80s. Like,
Yeah, looking at you, Nebraska.
Yeah, especially Nebraska now 0-2 under Scott Frost.
Yeah, and it's not going to get any easier for him this week.
Nope. But
I
we'll get to
forget
that.
who they play. Let's get to this week then.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's scroll down a little bit here. So we already picked Florida, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it in the state of Florida. Florida Atlantic versus
Yes.
UCF.
This one caught my eye as well. UCF, but closer, to quote Lee Corso, closer than the experts think.
Closer than Lee Corso would have you believe.
Yes.
Where is this game? Google's not very good at telling me where these games
It's in
are.
Orlando.
Okay,
It's in Orlando.
yeah. I mean, I think this is easily UCF then. I don't think Florida Atlantic's hitting their late season stride yet. UCF, surprisingly, not surprisingly, but I mean, they're a good team. You know, if Florida State keeps this up, we didn't even talk about Florida State's embarrassment again. if Florida State keeps this up, they're out of the Big Three, and UCF is in.
I guess. I mean, we have to be careful with ourselves as well, but USF is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
For the record. So if we keep this up, USF is gonna hop us temporarily.
Hey, they grabbed a Power 5 win this week. I mean,
They did.
It was over Illinois, but
Comeback win in Champaign. That's the
That's
best kind
easy.
of win.
let's see what else we got here. How about Nebraska versus Michigan?
Yeah, I think Michigan wins. Nebraska looks horrible.
Because I know their starting quarterback got hurt versus Colorado. Did he play this week?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So we're very professional and good at this.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think Michigan wins, but I don't think it's not competitive. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I don't know if Michigan's still that great. I understand they're like hitting their stride or whatever, but you know, it's the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten has shown they're not very good this year. So I mean, I think it's competitive, but I think Michigan ends up getting this one.
I agree.
You want to bring it back to the SEC?
Yeah, let's do it. Tuscaloosa, Saturday, 2:30 Central Time. A&M, Jimbo Fisher, and Nick Saban Alabama
So
is
did
26
you
and a
say
half.
2:30 Central Time because you're going to be at this game?
I
Because I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I did. I'm kind of, you know what? I like Central Time, by the way. It's a lot better than Eastern Time. It's
Yeah.
nice to have things in, like, for instance, if you're on the West Coast, like, if the Rays are playing, the Angels, and I live in Alabama, it starts at 9 o'clock now, as opposed to 10. And that's a huge benefit, in my opinion. I just like Central Time. I'm a big fan of it. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
So what you're saying is you want to move to Alabama?
I want to move to like Dothan, Alabama. That's where I want to go.
All right, pick this game. Tell me what you got.
I mean, Bama's gonna win. Obviously, we don't know by how much. A&M looks good. Like they actually look good. Credit to Jimbo Fisher. I don't think Alabama covers 26 and a half. I'd be surprised. But it's also one of those games where if Alabama, they very well could. I don't know. They scored 62 unanswered points last week against Ole Miss. So I mean,
And shut Ole Miss, a pretty good offense, out except for one play.
Except for one play. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
The first play.
I'm picking A&M to cover the spread.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Alabama wins, probably by 3 scores. I don't think it's 26. I agree. I don't think they cover, but I mean, it's at Alabama, and I think Alabama's going to, undefeated win the national championship this season. So I'm not picking against them until proven otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. There's just no point to it. It's like, honestly, though, I don't mind. If Alabama keeps winning, like, I don't have a problem with their fan base, really. So
Right.
as long as it's them, they, like, just do your thing. I don't really care anymore, And then, like, my roommates and I were talking about it last night. Like, it's also ends up being pretty funny when they don't win it because they freak out. Like, they actually freak out, So it's fine. Like, if I had to choose one school to dominate, I guess I would choose Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like where college football is at right now because everyone understands that it's just Alabama, and like Clemson can have their argument or whatever, but like it's just Alabama, and Clemson isn't a big enough fan base to really annoy anyone except for maybe some FSU fans, but like everyone else is taking a back seat right now, so there's really no point in arguing like, oh, like, we're better than you. We're this, we're that, we're conference champions. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're all second place to Alabama. So I'm fine with that right now. Until Florida's ready to compete, I'm fine with just taking the back seat along with everyone else.
Yeah, and we don't have to play them every year, too, so it works out pretty well.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about just in passing, we'll talk about Clemson, Georgia Tech. Maybe get a little taste of the ACC.
I mean, Clemson's probably going to dominate. Georgia Tech can't pass the ball. Georgia Tech had a chance to beat USF week 2, choked it away.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson's pretty good. Although it's in Atlanta, that could make things interesting. But that's all I have for that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth noting that Clemson has a tendency to drop one of these games every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a triple option team, man. Any given Sunday. I would choose Georgia Tech in this game if not for Clemson's incredible defensive line. I think they'll wreak havoc. But at the same time, don't count out the Bumblebees, I'm
Okay,
just saying.
I'll keep that in mind.
Any given Saturday with the triple option team.
You know what? Going to your back to your point regarding their ability to Clemsoning. This is the week to do it because I'm looking at their schedule right now, and unless Boston College is actually the 23rd best team in the nation, which I have a hard time believing, by the way, Steve Adazio still there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. Shout out to Steve Adazio, but unless they're the 23rd best team, and that's for real, they're not going to lose a game this year.
You talking about Clemson?
Yeah, there's no doubt. Syracuse at home, at Wake, NC State at home, at Florida State, so on and so forth. ACC's trash this year anyways, so I think they're going to go undefeated. I just jumped the gun there. Let's maybe one or two more games. TCU Texas in Austin. Is Texas back?
No, God no. I think TCU is actually really good. I think they hung really, really well with Ohio State.
Yeah.
And they were riding a wave. If that trick play on that kickoff hadn't been a forward pass, I think potentially that game ends a little bit differently. But I mean, I think TCU by a lot, honestly.
Okay, I'm actually picking Texas in this one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just think it's time. It's time for Texas to get back-to-back nice wins.
I don't know, man. All right, that's fine though. I like the contrarian. I like it.
Okay. There is one interesting game in Kroger Field, the place you've been to, this weekend. Mississippi State at Kentucky. Thoughts?
I actually really, really want Kentucky to win this game. I'm kind of tired of seeing all the hype that Mississippi State's getting this season. I understand they're a good team, but I feel like everyone involved in the SEC really, really wants them to be a top 10, really good team, and I just don't think they're there yet. And Dan Mullen made them relevant, and he got a good roster in there. But at the end of the day, Joe Moorhead, their new head coach, still a first-year head coach. It's still Mississippi State. And I know we just bashed Mac for saying that about Kentucky last year, but and they haven't beat anyone yet, really, in my opinion. So I think this is a good test for them. So I will choose Kentucky in this game. SEC East bias, but it's just because I really want them to. I'm just tired of the Mississippi State hype. They haven't proven it yet. And so I think 14 is an appropriate ranking for them right now, just because preseason polls are dumb, and just based on their preseason ranking, that it makes sense for them to be there at this point, being undefeated. But they just haven't beaten anyone yet, so we'll see. I think it's a good first test.
I agree. I think Kentucky's going to win. I actually think Kentucky is. They have their quarterback and running back, Snell and Wilson, are both legit. So I'm looking. I mean, it's at home too, so this is a game they can win for sure. I think they will.
That's a night game too.
Yeah, Kroger Field is going to be hopping for sure.
Man, Kentucky.
How did that happen? Whatever. Do we want to keep picking games, or are we moving on?
No, I think we need to hit two more.
Okay.
So Wisconsin, Iowa.
Ooh.
This is interesting for me. I'm like a low key Iowa fan. I respect Iowa.
How big of a fan of 21-10 games are you?
Huge, dude. Hey, no such thing as a bad win. An ugly win's a good.
That's true.
So I mean, I think Wisconsin proving that they're actually not very good after losing to BYU at home, and Iowa is just this nice, sound, fundamental team. They're kind of like the Patriots. They're just going to do their job, And they have this crotchety old coach, Kirk Ferentz, who just gets paid millions and millions of dollars and keeps getting extended for no reason. So I pick Iowa to win this game.
Yeah, I think Iowa's going to kind of beat them pretty easily, to be honest. I think Wisconsin's going to be a little dejected. Iowa, like you mentioned, very sound. I'm taking the Hawkeyes.
Dude, this is going to be the game that we come on next week and be like, wow, you're wrong.
Yeah, Wisconsin's going to win 34-10 or something.
Yeah. All right. I think that's about it, man.
You did say two more games. What was your second one? I have an idea. I'm hoping I know what it is, but there's two. I'm not sure which one you're going to pick here.
I think you know which one it is.
I think you're going to go with Arizona State and Washington. Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm still bought into Herm Edwards, man. It's just too good of a story to just turn my back on after one loss. I just went through the same thing with Washington and in Utah last week, where I was like, maybe Washington not that good. We got a frisky Utah team, but I haven't learned my lesson. I'm going Arizona State again.
Wow! You're picking against a 17-point favorite, Washington Huskies.
Yep.
I'm picking the Huskies, but I think Arizona State covers the spread. I think 17's a lot.
Okay. Hey, no such thing as losing when you cover the spread.
Exactly. Good teams lose, great teams cover. I think it's the saying.
Right. All right, so quick transition.
Yes.
Let's talk NFL, man.
Let's do it.
Unfortunately, I bet you are really excited too, and I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited. The Bucs look very good. Fitzpatrick, again, 4 TDs. Fitzmagic is real in Tampa. It's not so much in New York, in the Meadowlands. Your Giants looked so bad.
So bad. So bad.
Just egregious.
Yeah. It's everyone's fault. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do 30-minute analysis of why the New York Giants are bad. This is the Giants podcast. It's the offensive line, and Eli is 37 years old, and he demonstrates very clearly with his play that he doesn't trust his O-line at all. he doesn't even take the time to go through his reads because he knows he's just going to take pressure immediately, and he's not wrong. I mean, like, I can't sit here and blame him because, as a near 40-year-old quarterback in the NFL, you have to protect your body, but you also have to be able to throw the ball at the same time. So it's like he looked terrified in that game. Like, we got so many new Manning face memes. But again, I can't blame him. I mean, I do blame him a little bit because he has wide open looks, but he's too concerned with the pass rush to really take his time to, sit down and make the throw. But, I mean, everyone's to blame. It's the offensive line. It's Eli.
Do you think the offensive game plan should be more designed rushes for Eli Manning to protect him, a la FSU with DeAndre Francois?
Dude, he got lit up so much. Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like Florida. Like, we have misconceptions about the Giants have misconceptions about what their personnel should be doing. It's like when they run Saquon, they run power, and he looks like he's a power back, but like he's not. He's really more of a finesse back, and
Yeah.
he set the team record for receptions by running back with 14. Like,
Yeah, that's insane.
shout out to Saquon. I'm in PPR leagues, and I have him in basically all my leagues.
There you go.
Yeah, he went off for me, and that was nice, but the losing part wasn't.
Yeah, he looked good. He definitely looked. He is very good, no doubt. Yeah, the Bucks with the Bucks at least. I'm not even that impressed because I don't like. First of all, I hate when everyone's like, "We just beat the defending champs, bro." Like, I don't care. It's last year anyways.
That's
And
not a thing in the NFL.
It's stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. First of all, I hate when the NFL anoints their winner the world champion. Like, it's the only league in the world, so stop saying world champs. It's just stupid. But
see, I used to be untrained about that, but when you really think about it, you could assemble any team from any conglomerate of nations in the entire world, and they probably wouldn't even beat some middle of the road college teams, if we're just being honest.
Well, of course.
But I understand your argument. I understand what you're saying.
of course, yeah. But I don't think the Eagles are even very good this year. Clearly without Wentz, they're not the same. They're not. They're like the Eagles' offense is honestly, without Wentz, is the opposite of explosive. There's nothing explosive about it. Defense is still good. That's why I was impressed with Fitzpatrick. But it was a good win, no doubt. I think we're going to beat the Steelers on Monday night and start out 3-0.
I agree.
Any other games? Well, there are plenty of other games. Week 2. I think the Cardinals are competing with the Bills as far as who's the worst team in the NFL.
I mean, I think it's undisputedly the Bills.
Is it though? The Bills only lost by 11 to the Chargers. I mean, they kind of came back a little bit, made it a little.
The Chargers
close.
scored like 4 TDs in the first quarter, and they're like, "Oh, this was so easy, we're done."
Yeah. It was 28-0 at half, and it could, or 28-6 could have been worse.
Yeah.
Poor Browns. Browns can't get a win. Shout out to Wu-Tang. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, and shout out to AC81.
Yeah. Hell of a catch.
Yeah. That's another thing. He's been sitting on my fantasy bench. I'm just waiting for him to really find his groove, and then I'm gonna slide him in there. He's gonna go off until he gets suspended.
Exactly. And then the Patriots will sign him. Speaking of the Patriots, what were your thoughts on the Jags-Pats game?
Oh man. So I haven't been very open about this, but I have adopted the Jags. It's my second team. I feel like I have a pretty good claim to them, being from the state of Florida and being a lifelong Giants fan. Therefore, I have that Tom Coughlin connection. So I feel like I have the right to claim a Jaguars fandom, and I'm going to. So inevitably, when the Giants are eliminated from playoff contention very early this year, I'm jumping. I'm already on the bandwagon, but I'm going to be very vocal about the fact that I'm on the Jaguars bandwagon later in the year. But I just want the world to know that I'm there now. So I was enthused by the win, and I thought it just reminded me of the Giants, Super Bowl teams. The offense isn't explosive, but they're doing their job. Bortles is making the right reads. He's playing smart. He's making really, really good throws occasionally, which demoralizes teams. And then the defense is suffocating. There's just no way around that at all.
Yeah, shout out to Dante Fowler with the strip sack and the recovery.
Yeah, I think he played 25 snaps or something and had pressures on more than half of them. So
Yeah, he's a monster. He's
Yeah.
an absolute monster.
he's gonna get traded after this year, though.
You think so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know, unless he like ends up like really, really like showing out this year. I just think like I don't know if he's like a great culture guy, as cliche as that sounds, but like I believe that like kind of Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone really believe in that. So if he can keep the antics down, then I think he's in. But I don't know. We'll see.
It will be interesting to keep up with for sure. And the Jags didn't have Fournette, so I mean that was impressive that they did all that without Leonard.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean,
All right,
whoever that number 30 Grant is.
Corey Grant,
Yeah.
Auburn. He went to Auburn, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he had a really good game. He was
I had
impressive.
not heard of him.
Shall we jump to week 3 before we bore everybody to death?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, let's do it. I'm looking at the schedule. There honestly are not that many good games.
I was thinking that earlier.
It's pretty bad. This is actually probably the worst week in the entire season as far as good games. Saints visit Atlanta. That could be good.
Yeah. Who you got there?
That's a toss up. I mean, that's a pick 'em for sure. I'll take the I'll take the Saints actually. I think they're gonna wake up and get a win.
Okay. You're right. That is a toss-up. The Falcons look better this week, and I think the Panthers are actually pretty good. So I was encouraged by their win. I don't know though, man. They had a lot of injuries on the defense, and I don't think the Falcons are consistent enough offensively to take advantage of like the deficiencies that the Saints clearly have on defense. So I'll take the Saints in this one, close one.
All right, interesting. I feel like the next best game is Cincinnati at Carolina, possibly.
Okay.
2-0 Bengals and the 1-1 Panthers.
Man, I'm taking the Panthers in this one. Like I said, I think the Panthers are pretty good this year.
Yeah, I'm taking the Panthers as well. The Bengals, I feel like the Bengals kind of suck. I mean, they beat the Colts and they beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
Not
National
impressive.
media really bought into them this week, though. Everyone was all over the Bengals being legit this year, which I didn't understand at all.
Yeah, they still have Andy Dalton, so I don't.
And Mark Lewis.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the next best game, honestly, is the Monday night game, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. I would venture to say.
What's going on in Pittsburgh? What do you think?
I don't know. It's implosion. It's implosion for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how long how much longer they're gonna be what they are. I think Antonio Brown's gonna be gone soon. What's Le'Veon's deal?
I mean, it's such an interesting situation, but like at the same time, I think it's interesting because like he's setting a precedent that like no other really running back has done yet. Like he's actually just being like, you know what, my money is going to come to me next year, but I have to keep my carries and my touches down because like everyone knows running backs are expendable in the NFL just based on their wear and tear. So I think he is doing the smart thing by sitting out the season and keeping his touches down and his value up for next year. But at the same time, he has to come back by week 11 in order to be eligible for free agency next year.
Mm.
And my question is, if he sits out over half the season and it's just like down in Miami chilling the whole season, like how willing will the team be to accept him back like immediately?
Yeah, it's got to be mutual. I mean, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens. It depends. I mean, if the Steelers are in the race, they'll probably find room for him, I would imagine. But I have no idea. The only thing I think I know, is that the Bucs are going to win Monday night. Which is also crazy to me. The Steelers are 1-point favorites. There's no respect for Tampa Bay. Also, ESPN came out with their top 10 power rankings.
I saw it.
The Bucs are not in them. That's a joke. If the Cowboys were 2-0 with wins against the Saints on the road and a win against the defending world champs, they'd be 3 in the top 10. They'd be the third best team, at least. It's a joke.
But like at the same time, do you really believe the Bucs are a top 10 team in the NFL?
I don't see why not. Like, I honestly don't see why not. We have so many weapons on offense. It's insane. Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin, Humphreys is really good. Mike Evans, O.J. Howard's a beast. Cameron Brate is not a slouch at all. And then, the running back position, I mean, like you just mentioned, running backs in the NFL anyways are interchangeable unless you have, like, Saquon or, Zeke. So it doesn't really matter who we have at running back. Whoever we have is going to do well. And then the quarterback position's not liability right now, so I don't see a problem at all.
Right now.
And the defense is actually playing pretty well. The defense is not. The defense has ballers all over the place. Your boy JPP had a nice game.
Don't worry, he'll quit on the team halfway through.
It's maybe not at halftime. Let's hope not.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think the Bucs win this game, but only because the Steelers. I don't even think have talked about the game this week.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just so much outside distraction and noise right now.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing with Antonio Brown's fine. I think he's just frustrated because, the ball's not coming his way a whole lot. And he's not putting up his numbers, and they're losing, and the conversation isn't about how great they are. It's about how dysfunctional they are right now. So I understand his frustration, but it works for me because I have Juju on my teams. So. I think it's the Bucs. I think the Steelers are way too low, and the Bucs are just way too high right now. It's a home game for Tampa Bay on Monday night. Y'all haven't been super relevant or had any great games in a while, so I think the 8-1-3 will be excited for this one.
I'm hoping so. Well, we'll find out, and next week we'll have answers for you guys. I guess so.
I'm sure we'll be like over 50% wrong.
But. Yeah, we'll be. I was just gonna say we'll probably be over with almost every pick. At least I know I will be. So.
Yeah. All right. We want to call it there.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Yet another excellent episode of the Booth Review, our month anniversary on the YouTube platform. So thanks for tuning in. We're actually doing surprisingly good numbers, and I'm sure it's just mostly Russian bots. But for the real humans out there who are tuning in, I appreciate you.
As do I.
Thanks, everyone.